Wow, that was some subversive humor there, Watermelon.
You have a wrist now?
Throwing me under the shelf, guys! It was totally worth it! Five. So here's some footage from when I initially filmed the rescue crew breaking out of their containment that David Smuck and Mr. Engel put them in. And even though, it's small scale and there's a decent amount of room between Phil, Sudsy, Bob, Keegan, Steve, and Guinea, and Mr. Bubble, and the rest of the cast, it's hard to keep track of all the characters that need to be moved. Like Walnut over to the left, as so, and Pineapple, and keeping track of the characters that are behind and in the front to make sure that even though I use a more limited style of movement since I'm still working with the puppets I made years ago, I still want to move them and make it seem as if each character is alive, and it is pretty close range, the movements that are made. So, the big thing is making sure that I move each of the characters to again, like I said, to showcase motion, but also not to move them too jarringly since they're so close, if my hand would actually accidentally nudge one. So this is just me moving each of the individual characters for a shot. I believe this is back when Keegan is still when Bob is putting Keegan's head back on, pretty early on the zoom in since Walnut's coming around the mug. Due to what's seen in the frame, I don't need to move Mr. Bubble. I might want to move Owl, and I don't really need to move Mr. Pineapple either since they won't really be seen. When filming shots like this, which involve the majority of the cast needing to be adjusted, each of the puppets adjusted in between frames, it can become frustrating for me since I use a tablet due to the last time that I took a picture being so long in between when I adjusted each of the puppets for the next picture that the tablet will shut off. And I know there is ways within the settings of the tablet to configure that and allow for the tablet to stay on longer, but it's been so long since I've done that I've forgotten, and I need to make sure I do that when I start filming on the rest of season 3 this summer. But that's definitely a problem. I need to get that sorted out because that's definitely a problem for shots when David was running past the cast that I already had to blue screen. I already had a green screen over due to how many moving components were in the back in relation to David in the front, since we had to keep track of keeping the characters in air to line up somewhat with the piece of promotional for the show, piece of promo art for the show in the background. Meaning that if the tablet were to shut off, then it would be frustrating. If you're holding up a character with a toothpick and it's making the clay loose, and due to you're on a timed basis where if you don't get that picture taken, that puppet is gonna flop on the ground if that picture isn't taken quick enough. So the tablet issue is definitely something that needs to be adjusted moving forward. Despite the rough state of the puppets and the limitations that I have, I try to work with those. So in this newest special, I tried to fill around more and be able to get more expression out of moving certain characters' ears or little antenna things that they have coming off of their heads or different body appendages to make them be able to emote more out of their non-articulationness, while being able to utilize the parts of them that do articulate to get their emotions across, despite them maybe not having the most common articulation pieces that you would associate with animated characters, like moving mouths. So for the majority of this sequence, the audience and me filming were looking into the cast prior to their escaping from, as if the door was not there, and the door was opened during the filming of that sequence, the door to the cabinet. The only issue with that is when the audience is supposed to be in a fixed position or a moving camera position behind Guinea, Steve, Keegan, Bob, Sudsy, and Phil standing there in the center when they're supposed to be closer to where Owl is in the back. The issue arises where, from that angle, you would have to see the back of the door to make it show that they are still in containment. So I could have shifted around the way the characters were to make it look like you were looking in the opposite way, and that the other side of the wall was just like the same as the back wall. Just do like a 180 flip of what the characters' positions are, or probably have to be higher degree angle more than that. But the only issue that arises with that is that the wall will look the same on both sides, and I thought it would be pulled off better if I climbed, or well, not really climbed, but went into the cabinet. That way I could get a shot from the character's perspective towards the door, like where you actually see the back of the door to the cabinet closed. An issue that came with that is that the lighting would be starkly different compared to the rest of the sequence. The way the kitchen lights in the house reflect on the floor and how that light kind of bounces into the cabinet and reflects off the back wall, it creates a pretty decently bright light within, making it easy to see all the characters. But when it makes it starkly obvious when I'm within the cabinet, I'm sure after knowing that now that I'm stating this now, because it's so dark in there, you won't be able to see anything. So I'm pretty sure I took a flashlight in there and shined it towards Bubbles, so it makes it seem more dramatic, or maybe a little bit more shaky or uncanny due to the light being held and the rest of it being dark. Maybe that, hopefully that heightens the comedicness of the sequence a little bit, since it's supposed to be decently humorous parts of it. So I do have some footage of me crawling out of the cabinet.
Hi.
And I do have 2 pictures of me within the cabinet filming the characters. Special thanks to my mom, which that'll be in the credits, for getting these pictures of me during the filming of this sequence. And I do think what probably contributes to the portions of the sequence that are filmed from within the cabinet being pretty brief is, for one, I'd have to hold the flashlight as I was taking pictures and getting the frames, but I would also, I'm significantly taller than the cabinet is, than the amount of room in there, so eventually being hunched over that long would start getting to me, so that is an issue. And I would have to move between these 2 different types of shots, the 2 different angles. I would have to move the cast around, like I would have to move Pineapple and the rest of the cast out of the way, that way I could crawl out without completely knocking them out of the way. Which I need to rewatch the special. It's been a little bit since I've watched the full thing. But it's possible that maybe I only filmed 1 sequence from within there, but I feel like there might have been a couple different shots, so I probably had to crawl in and out a couple different times. I see the parts of the seeds fall in the sky, and that makes me wanna cry. Oh my. Running strawberry, old time progresses. Oh.